What if I told you the reason people don't respect you has nothing to do with your talent, your money, or your intelligence, and everything to do with one invisible behavior you repeat every single day? Think about that for a second. You work hard. You try to be kind. You show up. You do what you're supposed to do, and yet deep down you feel it. People overlook you, interrupt you, underestimate you. And the worst part, you can't even explain why. Here's the truth most people never hear. Respect is not given to those who deserve it. It is given to those who demonstrate it, first to themselves. And that's where everything changes. Because the world is constantly watching you, not when you're trying to impress, but in the small, quiet moments, how you speak, how you react, what you tolerate, what you walk away from. Those moments send a signal, a powerful signal that tells people exactly how to treat you. Now here's the uncomfortable question. Are you sending the wrong signal without even realizing it? Most people think respect comes from proving themselves, talking more, showing more, doing more. But the reality is the opposite. The more you chase respect, the more it runs from you. The more you try to convince people of your worth, the less they believe it. Because respect doesn't come from what you say, it comes from what you allow. Let me explain. Imagine someone constantly cancels plans on you, disrespects your time, or speaks to you without consideration, and you say nothing. You smile. You let it go. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. But in that moment, you're teaching them something. You're teaching them that it's okay. And once people learn that lesson, they don't unlearn it. This is the secret most people never understand. Every time you tolerate less than you deserve, you lower the standard of how others see you. Not because they're bad people, but because you showed them the boundary. And here's where it gets even deeper. Respect isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself, your standards, your reactions, your decisions. It's about having the quiet confidence to say, this is who I am, and this is what I stand for, without needing anyone's approval. Because the moment you stop negotiating your value, people stop questioning it. And that's where your transformation begins. Now let's go deeper, because once you understand this, you'll never look at respect the same way again. Most people confuse being liked with being respected. They think if they're nice enough, agreeable enough, helpful enough, people will naturally value them. But think about your own life. Who do you truly respect? Is it the person who says yes to everything? The one who never disagrees, never pushes back, never stands their ground? Or is it the person who is calm, clear, and unapologetically firm about what they believe? Because deep down, we don't respect people who try to please everyone. We respect people who know themselves. And that's the shift most people never make. They spend years trying to win approval, not realizing they're slowly losing respect, not just from others, but from themselves. Here's a simple truth that might hit hard. Every time you say yes when you want to say now, you feel it. That small voice inside you, the one that whispers, this doesn't feel right. And when you ignore it, something inside you weakens. Not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. Until one day, you don't even recognize the confident version of yourself anymore. And here's the part no one tells you. People can feel that. They may not say it out loud, but they sense uncertainty. They sense hesitation. And when you're not fully standing behind your own words and actions, it gives others permission to stand over you. Not because they're trying to hurt you, but because human nature responds to clarity and certainty. Certainty commands respect. Uncertainty invites control. So the real question is not, why don't people respect me? The real question is, where am I not respecting myself? Because that's always where it starts. It starts in the small decisions, the conversations you avoid, the boundaries you don't set, the moments you shrink instead of standing tall. And here's something powerful to understand. Respect is built in silence. It's built in the moments when no one is watching, when you choose discipline over comfort, honesty over approval, courage over fear. That's where your identity is formed. And once your identity is strong, your presence changes. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove anything. People just feel it. They feel the certainty. They feel the standard. And without you saying a word, they adjust how they treat you. Because you've already made the decision within yourself. This is who I am, and I will not go below it. Now, here's where it becomes real, because understanding this is one thing, but living it is something completely different. There will be moments, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you feel the urge to stay quiet when you should speak, to agree when you actually disagree, to stay when you know you should walk away. And in those moments, your mind will start negotiating with you. It's not a big deal. I don't want to cause conflict. Maybe I'm overthinking this. But that's not your truth speaking. That's your fear trying to keep you comfortable. Because standing up for yourself is uncomfortable. Setting boundaries is uncomfortable. Walking away from disrespect is uncomfortable. But do you know what's even more uncomfortable? Living a life where you constantly feel small, unheard, and undervalued. That quiet frustration that builds inside you over time. That's the cost of avoiding discomfort. And most people pay that price every single day without even realizing it. Here's the shift you need to make it. Stop asking, will they like me if I do this? And start asking, will I respect myself if I don't? Because that question changes everything. It forces you to confront the truth in the moment. It forces you to choose between temporary comfort and long-term self-respect. And the truth is, you can't have both. There's a story I want you to picture. Imagine someone in a meeting, they have an idea, a good one, but they hesitate, they wait, they let others speak, and eventually someone else says something similar and gets all the recognition. Now what happens? Frustration, regret, self-doubt. Not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't act. And here's the painful part. People didn't ignore them. They never heard them. Respect isn't just about how others treat you. It's also about whether you give yourself the chance to be seen and heard. Because if you keep holding back, people don't see potential. They see silence. And silence is easy to overlook. This is why courage is such a critical part of respect. Not loud, aggressive courage, but quiet, grounded courage. The kind where you speak clearly. The kind where you say, I don't agree, without anger. The kind where you walk away without needing to explain yourself to everyone. That kind of courage sends a message that says, I value myself enough to be honest. And when people see that, they start to listen differently. They start to pay attention. Because you're no longer asking for space, you're taking it. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake. They think respect is something you turn on in big moments. They wait for the perfect opportunity to finally speak up, to finally stand their ground, to finally show confidence. But respect is not built in big moments. It's revealed in them. It's built in the small, everyday decisions you make when no one is paying attention. The way you let people talk over you or don't. The way you respond to pressure or fold under it. The way you keep promises to yourself or break them quietly. These are the moments shaping how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Because every time you break your own word, even in something small, you send a message to your mind, my standards don't matter. And when your own mind stops believing in your standards, why would anyone else? This is why discipline is not just about success, it's about identity. It's about becoming someone who does what they say, who follows through, who doesn't need external pressure to act with integrity. Because when you become that person, something shifts. You stop seeking validation. You stop needing constant reassurance. And people notice, not because you tell them, but because your actions are consistent. And consistency builds trust. Trust builds respect. Now think about someone you admire. It's not just what they say, right? It's how they show up again and again the same way. There's no confusion about who they are. There's no guessing where they stand. And that clarity creates a sense of certainty around them. That's what people respect. Not perfection, not popularity, but certainty. Now here's something most people avoid hearing. If people don't respect you right now, it's not because you're not good enough. It's because your standards haven't been clear enough. And clarity doesn't come from words. It comes from actions repeated over time. So if you say you value your time, but you let people waste it, the message is unclear. If you say you deserve better, but you keep accepting less, the message is unclear. And when the message is unclear, people default to what's easy for them, not what's best for you. This is why you must become intentional. Intentional with your time, intentional with your energy, intentional with what you allow into your life. Because every choice you make is either reinforcing your value or quietly lowering it. And the truth is, people are always watching, not in judgment, but in observation. They're learning how to treat you based on what you show them consistently. So the real power isn't in demanding respect. It's in becoming someone who naturally commands it, without saying a word. Now let's talk about something even deeper, something most people avoid, because it forces them to be brutally honest with themselves. The environments you stay in. Because you can do all the inner work, build confidence, set standards, become more disciplined. But if you continue to surround yourself with people who ignore those standards, something starts to happen. You begin to shrink again. Not immediately, not obviously. But slowly, subtly, you start adjusting yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for your growth. And this is where many people get stuck. They think the problem is them. They think, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm being difficult. Maybe I should just be more understanding. But let's be clear about something. There is a difference between being understanding and being undervalued. And if you don't recognize that difference, you will keep placing yourself in situations where respect is impossible. Because respect is not just about how you act. It's also about where you choose to stay. Think about it like this. If you plant a strong, healthy seed in the wrong soil, it doesn't matter how much potential it has. It won't grow the way it's meant to. Not because the seed is weak, but because the environment is wrong. And the same is true for you. You can be strong, capable, and self-aware, but if you stay in environments where your voice is dismissed, your time is not valued, and your presence is taken for granted, you will constantly feel like you're fighting for something that should come naturally. Respect should not feel like a battle. It should feel like a baseline. Now, this doesn't mean you run away from every difficult situation. Growth requires discomfort, but there's a difference between a challenging environment and a diminishing one. A challenging environment pushes you to become better. A diminishing one slowly convinces you that you're less. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing it. You'll start lowering your expectations, lowering your standards, lowering your voice. Until one day, you don't even realize how much you've compromised just to stay accepted. Here's the truth you need to hear. A walking away is not weakness. It's clarity. It's the ability to recognize this place, these people, This situation no longer aligns with who I am becoming. And that takes strength. Because sometimes the hardest thing to do is to leave what feels familiar, even when it's no longer right. But the moment you choose yourself, truly choose yourself, something powerful happens. You create space. Space for better opportunities, better connections, better respect. Because you're no longer trying to fit into places that don't value you. You're positioning yourself for places that do. And that decision, that one decision, can change everything. Now let's confront something that most people feel, but almost no one admits. The fear of losing people. Because the moment you start changing, setting boundaries, speaking more honestly, raising your standards, something will happen. Not everyone will like it. Some people will pull away. Some will question you. Some will even try to make you feel guilty for becoming stronger. And in that moment, you'll feel it. That tension inside you. The voice that says, maybe I should go back to how I was, things were easier then. But easier doesn't mean better. Easier often means you were sacrificing parts of yourself just to keep the peace. And the truth is, when you stop doing that, the dynamic changes. Because people who benefited from your silence will be uncomfortable with your voice. People who benefited from your flexibility will resist your boundaries. And people who are used to you being available will struggle when you start choosing yourself. That's not a coincidence. That's a shift in power. Now, here's where you have to be careful. Don't confuse their discomfort with your mistake. Just because someone reacts negatively to your growth doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. In fact, it often means you're finally doing something right. Because real growth disrupts old patterns. It challenges expectations. It forces people to either respect the new version of you or distance themselves from it. And that's the part that hurts. Because you start to realize not everyone is meant to grow with you. Some people were only meant to experience a version of you that no longer exists. And holding on to them comes at a cost. The cost of your authenticity, the cost of your peace, the cost of your self-respect. So you have a decision to make. Do you keep shrinking to maintain connections that no longer serve you? Or do you accept that growth requires letting go even when it's uncomfortable? Because here's the truth. Every time you choose approval over authenticity, you lose a piece of yourself. But every time you choose authenticity over approval, you build something unshakable. Confidence, not the loud kind, not the kind that needs attention, but the quiet kind, the grounded kind, the kind that doesn't break under pressure. And when you have that kind of confidence, everything changes. You stop chasing people. You stop over-explaining. You stop trying to prove your worth because you already know it. And when you know it deeply, without doubt, people can feel that. They may not understand it. They may not even like it. But they will respect it because you're no longer asking for permission to be who you are. You've already decided. Now let's take this even further because there's one subtle habit that quietly destroys respect more than anything else. Over-explaining. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They say no and then immediately start justifying it. They make a decision and then feel the need to explain every detail behind it. They set a boundary and then soften it with long apologies. And in that moment, something powerful is lost, certainty. Because when you are truly confident in your decisions, they don't require excessive explanation. Think about it. When someone is clear, grounded, and sure of themselves, their words are simple. I can't make it. That doesn't work for me. I'm not interested. There's no tension, no nervous energy. No need to convince. But when you start adding layers of explanation, what you're really saying underneath is, I hope you approve of this. And the moment you seek approval, you lower your authority. Now, this doesn't mean you become cold or dismissive. It means you become clear. Respect doesn't come from being harsh. It comes from being honest without fear. Here's why this matters so much. When you over-explain, you give people room to negotiate your boundaries. You say now, but your long explanation sounds like uncertainty. And uncertainty invites pressure. People start pushing, questioning, trying to change your mind, not because they're bad, but because you left the door slightly open. And people naturally walk through open doors. But when your communication is simple and direct, something changes. There's no confusion, no mixed signals, just clarity, and clarity is powerful because it removes doubt, both for you and for others. Now let's go deeper into this. Over-explaining often comes from a fear of disappointing others, a fear of being misunderstood, a fear of being seen as selfish. But here's the truth. You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to make decisions that others don't fully understand. Because your life is not meant to be managed by everyone else's expectations. It's meant to be led by your own values. And when you truly understand that, you stop asking for permission. You stop justifying every move. You stop shrinking your voice to make others comfortable. Instead, you speak with calm confidence. You stand by your decisions. And you let people react however they choose. Because their reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to stay aligned with who you are becoming. And when you do that consistently, something incredible happens. Your words start carrying weight. Not because you say more, but because you say less and mean it. Now here's where everything comes together. Because there's one final layer most people never reach. Emotional control. You can set boundaries. You can speak clearly. You can stop over-explaining. But if you can't control your emotions in critical moments, all of that can disappear in seconds. Because respect is not just built on what you say. It's built on how you respond when things don't go your way, when someone challenges you, when someone disrespects you, when someone tries to provoke you. That's the moment people are truly watching. Not your words, your reaction. Most people lose respect right there. They get defensive, they raise their voice, they react impulsively. And in doing so, they give away their power. Because when someone can control your emotions, they control you. Let that sink in. If a single comment can trigger you, if a small situation can shake you, then your state is no longer yours. It belongs to whoever knows how to push your buttons. And people can feel that. They can feel when you're reactive instead of grounded. They can feel when your emotions are leading instead of your values. And that's when respect starts to slip. But the people who command true respect operate differently. They pause, they observe, they don't rush to react. Because they understand something powerful. Not every situation deserves a response. And not every person deserves access to your energy. That's control. That's strength. Imagine someone speaks to you with negativity. Instead of reacting instantly, you stay calm, you look at them, you listen, and you respond only if it aligns with your standards. No anger, no urgency, no need to prove anything. That kind of presence is rare. And because it's rare, it's respected. Now, this doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you master them. You feel everything, but you don't let everything control you. There's a difference. Suppression builds pressure. Control builds power. And when you have that power, you become unpredictable in the best way. People can't easily shake you. They can't easily read you. They can't easily manipulate you. Because you're not reacting from impulse, you're responding from intention. And that changes how people approach you. They think twice. They speak differently. They act with more awareness. Because they know you're not someone who can be easily moved. And that's where respect reaches another level. Not loud, not forced, but deeply felt without you saying a word. Now let's uncover the final truth that ties everything together, the one most people overlook, but it's the ultimate secret to earning lasting respect. It's not about what you say. It's not about how you act. It's about consistency. Because respect is not a single moment. It's not an action or a speech or one dramatic decision. It's the accumulation of every small choice, every boundary you enforce, every line you refuse to let be crossed day after day, year after year. Think about it. Who do you respect the most in your life? The person who acted once with courage, or the person who acts with courage, integrity, and self-respect every single time, even when no one is watching? That's the difference. Because people notice patterns. They don't notice a single gesture. They don't notice a single bold word. They notice who you are consistently. And here's the part most people never realize. You can have moments of confidence. You can set boundaries once. You can react calmly in a single interaction. But if the next day you allow the same disrespect again, the power of the previous moment disappears. Respect is fragile. And it's fragile because most people don't protect it consistently. This is why so many struggle to maintain authority, influence, or dignity in their lives. It's not that they lack talent. It's not that they lack intelligence. It's that they fail to enforce the rules they set for themselves consistently. And here's the truth you must internalize: respect begins and ends with you. Every action you take either reinforces your worth or erodes it. Every boundary you enforce builds credibility. Every boundary you compromise weakens it. So ask yourself honestly, are you consistent with yourself? Or are you negotiating your value based on convenience, fear, or the desire to be liked? Because people can feel inconsistency. They notice hesitation. They see uncertainty. And when they do, respect fades. But when you are consistent, when your words, your actions, and your presence align day after day, something magical happens. You stop chasing respect. People start granting it naturally. They sense your standards. They sense your confidence. And without you demanding it, they honor it. And that's the final piece of the secret most people never learn. Respect is not a favor you get. It's a consequence of the person you consistently become. Consistency, clarity, courage, control, boundaries, self-respect. Master these, and respect will follow. Because once people feel that you will not compromise your standards, they have no choice but to treat you differently. And the moment that happens, everything in your life shifts. Your energy, your relationships, your influence. Because respect is not given, it's earned. And it is earned quietly, intentionally, and consistently. Now here's the moment where it all comes together, where the invisible forces behind respect finally reveal themselves. You've learned about boundaries, clarity, emotional control, consistency, and choosing the right environment. But here's the truth that ties it all together. Respect is a reflection of your self-mastery. People don't respect what you say. They respect what you embody. They respect the invisible code you live by. And that code isn't written in words or speeches. It's written in actions, repeated day after day, even when no one is watching. Imagine walking into any room. Your presence alone communicates a message. You don't have to speak loudly. You don't have to assert yourself aggressively. The energy you carry, the quiet confidence, the unwavering adherence to your values, that's what people respond to. That's what commands respect. And let's be honest, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be. Respect requires sacrifice. It requires uncomfortable honesty with yourself. It requires letting go of what doesn't serve you. The habits, the people, the situations that undermine your worth. Because here's the harsh reality. If you compromise yourself for approval, you teach the world how to treat you. And if you stay silent, passive, or inconsistent, you invite people to walk over you. But when you decide to live intentionally, when you decide to honor yourself first, something shifts in the energy around you. People begin to notice. They begin to treat you differently. Not because you demand it, but because you become undeniable. And here's the final lesson most never grasp: respect is not static. It's not a trophy you earn once. It's dynamic. It grows as you grow. It deepens as you continue to honor your values, enforce your standards, and control your reactions in every situation. So the question isn't how to get respect. The question is, are you committed to becoming the kind of person who naturally commands it? Are you willing to do the internal work day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching? Because once you do, your relationships change, your influence grows, your presence becomes magnetic. People respond to you differently. They listen when you speak, they value your time, they honor your decisions, and you feel it inside, the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are no longer negotiating your worth. That's the ultimate power of self-respect, the real secret behind lasting influence, the invisible force that transforms how the world treats you. Respect is not given. It is earned silently, intentionally, relentlessly. And when you embody that fully, not just in words, but in every action, you will realize something incredible: the world has no choice but to adjust. You become unstoppable.